Hey everybody, my name is Bryson Turner and I scaled a lawn care business from $0 to $600,000 at 18 years old. And today we're going to be talking whether you should buy a new or an used truck as your next lawn care truck. So the first thing we want to talk about obviously is reliability. We just picked up this new 2025 Chevy Silverado 8-foot bed and we're going to be comparing it to this 2006 Toyota Tacoma that I actually started my business with multiple years ago. So there's clearly a difference, right, between what this is going to be able to do and what this is going to be able to do. Whenever we bought this, it was at 160,000 miles. It had no warranty because it was just from a private dealer. So if this thing breaks down, I'm going to be immediately responsible for the repairs from the get-go. This guy, 0 miles when we bought it, maybe like 30 miles when we bought it. But as soon as it breaks down, within 100,000 miles, bumper to bumper, we don't have to pay for any repairs at all. We'll talk about it more later on in the video, but as far as reliability goes, this guy's gonna get the point because as soon as it breaks down, I know that the dealership's gonna be on it and fix it and $0 are gonna come out of my bank account. So let's talk about how this is gonna affect you and your employees. Because if you're solo, the number one idea is you staying in the game. So a nicer truck versus a cheaper truck is going to have differences, right? Is it enough to get you out of the business? Maybe not, but with your employees, they have significantly less buy-in, and so having a nicer truck is gonna be a lot bigger of a deal for them. You see with this truck, this I'm on low, I'm on medium. It only works once I turn it to high. And so when I have it on high and then this doesn't even work, the AC doesn't really work, obviously this has to be on, this doesn't even turn on anymore kind of thing. And so these kind of creature comforts where, yeah, we have the Apple CarPlay in here now, because we put that in ourselves, but this doesn't work. This isn't the best. Like this, as far as shifting gear or shifting into reverse neutral, there's a lot of jolts. The braking system is super duper shaky whenever we're braking, and so whenever an employee comes and they see the company and they're like, is this like? You have to make a first impression as an employer too, right? And so as soon as they get in this truck and there's lights on the dash, it's like, oh, don't worry about that check engine light. It's just this thing. It's just this thing that we checked out with the dealer. And they're like, oh, great. Thanks for sending me in a truck with a check engine light on, right? So that versus a new truck, right, where it's first of all push to start. There's all these creature comforts of, hey, they can hook up their music. There's different things, like there's a actual thing for them to put an actual box charger in. So regardless of if their chargers fit this, it can at least fit this, right? There's the cigarette lighter where you can do that. Same thing as old truck. This comes equipped with already the trailer brakes, right? So even if you're towing a dump trailer, instead of having kind of a janky setup where it's like this other trailer brakes thing mounted under here for a dump trailer or whatever, you can already have this going. The AC actually works, where if I turn that up, give it a second, and it's full blast, right? And I'm actually getting cold whenever it does that. And so being able to have a nice, clean, new truck. I just talked about how the other truck rattled and shook all the time whenever you brake. This truck, it has 650 miles on it now. And so whenever we drive it, there's absolutely no issues. And if for some reason issues do arise, then instead of being like, oh yeah, we'll take it to the shop eventually. There's no check engine light, by the way. If there was a check engine light, we'd take it to the shop and say, hey, we have a warranty on our drivetrain. Can you please fix this? And they have to say yes, right? As long as you don't misuse the truck. And so being able to give them something where they say, hey, here's this brand new thing, take care of it, and we're a professional company. See, you show up on your first day and we put you in a brand new truck kind of thing. In addition to that, it gives the employees a little bit more of a kind of feel of responsibility for the business, right? You're putting them in a brand new truck instead of a crappier one. It's crazy, right? You put them in a crappy truck and they treat their truck kind of crappy because it's already a crappy truck. They're like, oh, what could we possibly do? And they leave rocks up on the dash or dirt all over the floor, or they leave their trash inside, yada, yada, yada. But instead with this truck, it's like, oh, this is nice. If I do anything to make this truck crappy, Bryson's gonna realize, right? And so with the other truck, who notices? It's already a crappy truck. Let's just make it more crappy. With this truck, people actually notice, I notice, and they know that I'll notice, so we're not gonna find Capri Sun wrappers or Butterfinger wrappers or whatever in here. They're gonna keep it nice, and there can be a higher standard where you set of like, hey, we keep these trucks nice, and they're actually gonna, like, I guess there's gonna be a reason they listen to you because you're actually providing them like, hey, this is why we have nice things. If we can't have nice things, we won't have nice things. And that them keeping this truck clean will go over to the other things of like, oh, I keep the truck clean, that means I take care of the mower, and that means I do this, and that means I do this, and that means I take care of my trash when we're in the shop, and I put everything together and away right. It just floods into everything else in the business. Having a couple nice things ends up having your employees treat everything nicer. We interrupt this video for a quick commercial break. Have you ever found yourself at your shop late on a Sunday night trying to fix the truck that you wish you had never bought in the first place? You sit for countless hours trying to repair it, but no. Turns out it has to be taken to a mechanic. But what to do? Work starts tomorrow and you need this truck. Introducing Brand New Truck. With Brand New Truck, Moi Productivity. Moi Productivity equals happy you, happy employees, and no more sleepless nights at the shop trying to fix your truck. And with the self-opening tailgates, you'll be happy as can be. So invest in Brand New Truck today. All right, welcome back from the commercial break. Now that that's over, let's go over the cost of a new versus an used truck, right? So we're gonna use conservative numbers. We just bought that truck that we talked about outside for $45K, and you could buy a kind of decent used truck for 15K-ish, right? We're in Colorado Springs. You might be like, oh, I'm in Normal, Illinois, and I can't, whatever. I can find a truck for $4,000 because my cousin, whatever. I don't care. This is for the average person, and this is, I guess, the actual math. So whenever you do this, you're probably gonna be driving it into the ground, right? You're probably buying a truck with 150,000 miles on it. You're probably driving it into the ground as far as like, at some point, either driving it to the ground where it doesn't run anymore or to the point where the repairs cost so much, it's literally not even worth to drive anymore. We'll talk about that in a second. This guy, we're gonna buy it at 45K and sell it at 25K between like 80 and 100,000 miles, which is completely doable, especially for a nice brand new truck if you keep it nice, right? If you jackknife and put a big old dent in it, then that's obviously going to change the subject, or I guess change the situation. But we're not going to assume you're going to jackknife the truck, right? Because obviously we would prefer that not to happen. So on this side, if we have a $15,000 loss, meaning we're going to drive it in the ground, maybe you sell it for like $2,000 at the end, right? Just bear with me on the example. You have 30 cents a mile, $15,000 miles divided by 50,000 miles. $50,000 divided by 50,000 miles, excuse me, is 30 cents a mile that you just paid to have that truck for a couple years. Now this guy, if you do a $20,000 loss, right, because we're going from 45 to 25, meaning we only lost $20,000, you have this, a $20,000 loss, and $100,000 miles is 20 cents a mile. There's a lot of small words that I keep getting mixed up on. 20 cents a mile versus 30 cents a mile over here, right? Because if we were to buy a 45K and drive it all the way, I guess if the truck blew up at 100,000 miles, right? Then obviously we would lose $45,000 and that'd be a different problem. But again, we're going in like the best case, or the most average case scenario. So if we drive this 100,000 miles, sell it for 25K or even 20K, it's still gonna be less than this 30 cents a mile at 20 cents a mile. Now, let's talk about repairs, right? I talked about how we had the 100,000 mile bumper to bumper warranty, meaning if we sell it before 100,000 miles, our repairs are precisely $0. Now over here, we've got a couple things. Obviously there's the repairs, and who knows how much that might be, right? If it goes down 3 times a year and it's a couple $1,000s per repair, well, dadgum, you just almost bought yourself half a used truck just by doing that, right? You just used the money on repairs. You could have like put a down payment on a new truck. And so whenever we have this, there's the repairs plus the fact that if you're off 10 days and you actually need that truck, right? Because ideally all the trucks that you have are in production. If you have that truck and you need a truck in that time, if you were to go to Home Depot or Enterprise or whatever to rent a truck for 150 bucks a day, plus whatever extra BS fees they decide to throw at you, but let's just call it 150 a day, that's 1,500 bucks plus the time you have to go get the truck, then go return the truck, then the next time it breaks, go get it, return it, go get it, return it. 10 days is a fairly conservative number, right? I know that Silverado, the wrapped one that we talked about, that was fairly old. It looks new on the outside, but it's fairly old. This year we haven't had any issues with it, but last year it was in the truck. It was in the shop probably like 30 days, right? Now, thankfully, we didn't end up needing it as a backup. We had a backup truck. We only needed one full-time truck at that point. But if we needed that truck full-time, like we would have been absolutely screwed to the point where we would have had to probably sell it and just buy an used whatever crappy truck, just because that was such a big thing for us. Where like you have no idea, right? When you put this down, you're like, oh, you can buy this reliable, this year make and model and cylinder, whatever, is like super duper reliable, and it's never gonna break down. But like that's awesome on paper, and then you say it and like the math works great. It's like, great, I believe you, and then the truck still breaks down, right? Or your truck gets hit and you file an insurance claim, you buy another of the same truck, and then that truck has issues, right? And so there's gonna be these things that happen when over here, when you spend this 45K, you're just taken care of, right? That truck gets hit and it blows up, and you get an insurance claim to buy a brand new truck that still has that 100,000 mile warranty. Then you sell it before it gets past that, and you pay precisely $0 in repairs, anything like that. The last thing that I'll kind of touch on, and I don't have it written on the whiteboard, is kind of like the time value of your money, right? So instead of spending 15K right now on this $45,000 truck, we put $5,000 down, meaning I have extra money in the bank. Now, obviously, we're gonna get 25K back, right? So for the sake of this example, bear with me. Let's say I actually bought the truck for $20,000, because that is overall what we plan on it like being a net loss of $20,000 as far as what that truck cost us. So out of that $20,000, we put $5,000 down, meaning we have to pay $15,000 more on the truck. Because whenever we sell it for 25, we'll just, if we still have payments left on the truck, we'll just write a check and pay off the truck, right? So if we have $15,000 more, we're paying payments on that every month. So instead of dropping 15 grand on it right away, we're instead able to spend $5,000 on it. Or if you have, I don't have a super long credit history, right? So that's all I could get approved for. If you're able to have more time that you are able to either put a lower down payment on it or have lower payments per month on it, then you are able to just pay it off little bit by little bit by little bit. And so especially if you're in spring or whatever, and you're like, hey, this is my first or second spring, we're pretty tight on cash. If instead of saying like, hey, might as well just do it now and spend the rest, like invest the rest of the money or whatever kind of thing. Obviously we're gonna get charged an interest rate on this, and it's like 7-8%. I happen to believe the fact that we went from 155 in revenue last year to 550, 600 this year kind of gives me justification to say that, hey, yeah, having that extra 10,000, 15,000, 20,000, however much money in the bank, I can get better than the 7% return on it, right? So if I keep that extra 10K in the bank, maybe I have to pay $10,700 on the $10,700 extra on the truck, not extra on the truck, but instead of having to pay $10,000 more dollars, I have to pay $10,700. But I'm going to make way more than $700 from keeping that $10,000 in the bank and instead deploying that to buy equipment that makes us money, buying another truck that makes us money, right? With the same $15,000, we could have put down payments on 3 brand new trucks, meaning those brand new trucks go and make us money instead of having one truck that makes us money. And then all of a sudden, you have a truck in production that makes you money, and you can just magically afford that truck, right? Hopefully this convinces you. And again, obviously, like this is not always the case, right? But it is, especially in 2025, the used truck market is not good. You can kind of buy $15,000, especially in Colorado Springs, is kind of a generously low number for a truck that's decent. That 350 that we got outside that we just talked about a second ago, that was $26,000, and it had like 80,000 miles on it ish. And so like finding a reliable work truck that you could actually use, especially if you're a solo operator and this is like your one truck, finding a truck that you can use every single day does come down to the point where you should buy or at least finance the used truck, right? Not buy it. You should probably not buy the used truck unless you just have a bunch of money sitting around somewhere. But if you are actively in growth mode and you are trying to get trucks in the field and not having them come out because of a lack of production, because they're broken, then financing a used truck is the way to go. The only other thing that this is, like, I guess, contingent on is the fact that all of your trucks are in the field, right? If you only need 2 trucks in the field, but you like want a third backup, then yeah, maybe that's the time where we buy this $15,000 truck, because it's like, hey, the chances of the expensive one going down are not awesome. Like, or if you already have a couple used trucks, right? And they run pretty good, and you're just like, hey, let's just buy one backup one, and then we'll start saving for new ones. Let's just buy one backup one, because these two they're maybe not brand new, but maybe they're 2020s, right? And they don't really go down very often, but we don't really have a warranty on them anymore, and so might as well buy like a $15,000 truck, or better yet, even finance a $15,000 truck to the point where at least it's a backup. It won't run most days out of the year. It doesn't have too many miles left on it, right? But if you can just get that as kind of like your last stand backup, then that would also be, I guess that would be kind of the one thing that's contingent on. And it's, again, contingent on the fact that all of your trucks are in production every day. Because if you're not using all your trucks every day, then yeah, it's probably worth buying this, because if one truck goes down, you can just put the other truck into production. So there you have it. Thanks for watching the video on new versus the used trucks. Let me know in the comments if you think I'm an absolute idiot. We're just sharing what we're doing on our trip from this to this, and it's like, hey, we did this and it worked, so we're going to share it with you guys. If you have a different life circumstance or whatever, feel free to drop it in the comments and I can kind of respond on that. I would love to talk with you guys. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching the video. We hope to see you guys next time. Thanks.